Hola, I am Olga Lehmann and I am a psychologist and researcher who lives in Norway. And why am I jumping into this very spontaneous sharing with you? Because the last weeks I have been reflecting a lot about what is going on and how will this coronavirus impact us. I even feel like, should I mention this word or not? To make the long story short, since my background is that of existential therapy, and I feel that these kind of situations, crises, opportunities, challenges, however you call them, um, they have a lot to do with an existential understanding of life. So I want to share a little bit with you an optimistic version of existentialism, which is how I see myself, existential psychology. And therefore, I want to introduce you to these two beauties. I hope you love them as much as I do. These are two hedgehogs or porcupines, which I bought in Stockholm last year, and which I use for couples therapy and sometimes individuals therapy. So I'm gonna tell you a story about them. But before that, I just want to emphasize that what I'm sharing are just my own interpretations, and it's an act that comes from a very genuine need that I have to start bridging with people that we are in this lockdown. And I hope that some of my insights and reflections can serve a purpose to whoever runs into this video, as much as it's serving a purpose for me to make myself feel that I'm being useful and that my suffering and my uncertainties and challenges have some meaning in these days. Because that is what boundary situations or limit situations that they confront us with uncertainty. But now let us go to the hedgehogs. So maybe some of you have heard about the hedgehog or the porcupine dilemma, or about this story, beautiful story that Schopenhauer wrote about it. Well, even if some of the interpretations of Schopenhauer's work might be quite pessimistic, mine one is a very optimistic one of the story. So here's their story. On a very, very dark, cold winter night, two hedgehogs starts to come closer to each other to give themselves some warmth. But the closer the porcupines will get, the more they will harm each other. So when they hurt each other with the spines, they will just go and distance themselves. But what happens then? The more distant they are, of course, the colder they get, and then they are risking their own survival because there's a very, very cold winter night. What is the moral of the story on my optimistic version? Because I'm gonna share with you some existential optimism. Many things. The first thing is that this is a metaphor for intimacy. That is why Schopenhauer thought that intimacy was an impossible, because too much closeness is too hurtful and too much distance is an impossible. I actually see it in the optimistic version as dance, and how we need to create different rhythms of safe distance and a sense of interconnectedness to thrive as human beings. This can be intimacy with a romantic partner, with a friend, with a family member, with someone from the community, etc. So that's the first layer into it. The second layer of it, or this moral of the story that I was thinking, has to do with kind of this dark night that we are facing now with the coronavirus crisis, and whatever this means for you as a person, or in your family system, in your working environment, in your country, in your county, in your city, or in terms of the global economy and global politics, right, in a systemic view. We don't really know. There are a lot of unknowns in this dark night, but if we come very, very close, we are hurting each other. So stay home and wash your hands thoroughly, because some of you, we don't really know. There's no capacity on the systems to make enough testing. So if you are just spending a lot of time away because you outside because you feel good, you might be risking to spread the virus to people who are in risk groups and challenging the capacity of our healthcare systems, right? But if we get too distance, as isolating each other, which can be physical isolation in our lockdown, but also more psychological or even spiritual isolation, that maybe some of us can be very focused in what this means to me and how can I solve, or why is this happening to me, that we kind of shut down from seeing this as an opportunity to be of support, an opportunity to thrive in different ways of bridging with people. It can be going at 6 o'clock and clapping outside in our windows to say thank you to the heroes that are trying to take care of what is going on. Healthcare professionals, the people who are picking up the post, supermarkets, or picking the garbage, all these essential things. But it could be also sharing some beauty, or it could be also getting an opportunity to get to know your family members or your partners in new ways, or to question the meaning of some relationships, or to see if reaching online in different ways or in our neighborhoods. So that is what I really love this beautiful porcupine so much, because they really help me reflecting about how much we need of each other, but how much we need to create healthy boundaries between each other in order to thrive. So many things I don't know, and there are many existential dilemmas which we don't have control about now, more than diving into this uncertainty in many levels, but living one day at a time, I hope we will create a more interdependent way of seeing life and society and economy. But before all that happens and gets resolved, my invitation for you, or what I want to challenge you about, is which steps are you gonna give in this dance of closeness and distance in order to help your communities thrive. If you want to share below, or I will be very happy to be reading you, because I really want to connect with people and feel of support. And if you want to reach out for whatever that you might be needing, we are a collective of psychologists in my new job, very willing to be of support. Okay, so I send you a virtual kiss and hug. Please let me know also how to improve these spontaneous sharings, because I'm not planning to be any YouTuber or something like that. I just want to, I feel the need to be a little bit creative, to also find energy in my day-to-day. Okay? Så tack för mig, tusen tack, and I'll be sharing much more things in blogs or maybe other videos if this one goes well. Okay? Bye bye.